is Ish Klein. You are listening to the podcast Wrestling with Poetry, which is a podcast about wrestling as well as poetry. Last week, we talked a little bit about the concept of kayfabe, when you act like everything that is happening in the ring is real, but in your heart, you know that it's a performance. This week, I want to talk about the concept of the heel. The heel in wrestling is the antagonist. They're the villain in a way. This is what makes a heel a heel. Cheating, insulting the crowd, lying, being mean to the opponent, and attacking the opponent outside the ring. That is heel behavior. Regarding the heel, this week I watched the DVD Lipstick Dynamite. This is a documentary about the overlooked women of wrestling. It's not a complete survey at all. Professional wrestling began in carnivals, so we're never going to get the really early footage. And maybe that's for the best. The three great heels, the Fabulous Moolah, the Great Mae Young, and Gladys Killam Gillum. Gladys was an alligator wrestler and a lion tamer in her life. She also fell on her head a lot. Also, Mae Young backed this up in the video. She was like, and Gladys would just fall to the back of her head until it was just a mass of scar. Face wrestler Penny Banner, she introduced herself to the Great Mae Young before a match, and Mae just said, "Hello, fuckface." Yes, Mae was a tough broad, and she aged in an interesting way. She said that nothing happens without the heel. The heel gives you the reason for the fight. Not everybody loved being a heel. Andre the Giant, a lot of people know him because he was in The Princess Bride and he's a very lovable figure. He didn't like being a heel. That was not his thing. He liked being loved. I think that's reasonable. 10 biggest heels of wrestling according to me. I'll go to number 10, Roddy Piper. He's a genuine performer. And in the movie, and if you want to check him out, you could find his footage or see the movie They Live, a John Carpenter movie. Jerry the King Lawler. I like him because he fought Andy Kaufman and went on the David Letterman show. That footage is really great. The Fabulous Moolah, who I mentioned. They call her the Fabulous Moolah. She was very interested in money. She was very into the McMahons. She loved being known by them, and she started her own business of promoting women wrestlers. I think she's a pretty good heel. Chyna the Wrestler, a heel who probably should have been a face. She's on my list as sort of a cautionary tale. Superstar Billy Graham. I've only seen a tiny bit of footage of him, but I thought his rhetoric was fantastic. He lived the heel thing. Gorgeous George, pure heel. The Great Mae Young, she's a philosopher heel. Gladys Killam Gillum, a wild heel. And Macho Man Randy Savage, Shakespearean heel. I don't know if you've ever seen his Slim Jim commercial. Art thou bored? It's very good. And the number one heel in professional wrestling is World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE. They're just a damn heel because they have always discouraged unionizing. They exploit their workers, not providing health care or transportation to the matches. And you are a big fat fuckface heel, but you do make things happen. Questions, contentions? wrestlingwithpoetry@gmail.com. Hey, speaking of questions, here is a question from last week's show. Josh asks, you asked Purcell how he felt about kayfabe, and he related that he thinks we all present a face to others but never got to the other half, the audiences, A, knowing it's a presentation, or more pointedly, a story or tall tale, and B, their decision that it is worth the emotional goods to go along with it. Or maybe it's not even emotional goods, but just that they would feel bad for the wrestler to let them know it's all for naught. In any case, I'm eager to hear how to hear you and or he expound on that part of the wrestling match in poetry, which, given its currently perceived low stakes, may have a different relation to kayfabe than other arts, or not. Great question. And here is Greg's response.
Hi, Josh. I take it your question is about the audiences for regular types of fiction, and then the audiences for kayfabe, whether it be in wrestling or in poetry. So that's an interesting question. I think, the audience for fiction kind of, not to, put down audiences for fiction, but I think they kind of know what they're getting, meaning there's often a moral message to fiction that I think gets buried in the details. People don't want to be moralized to. And so fiction in whatever medium, is what it is. It requires a certain amount of fidelity, a certain amount of the author sort of backing away from their opinions, from their ideology. It disguises itself. Kayfabe, on the other hand, is obvious, and that's what the audience wants. They want to see the person committing to kayfabe bare their breast a little bit, to take on a persona. That's a long tradition in poetry, and of course it's a long tradition in professional wrestling. I think, the audience for kayfabe may be a little more postmodern, for lack of a better word. They know how the sausage is made, and they kind of take a certain delight in seeing the sausage get made. And I think that's kind of cool. And of course, that is a long tradition in poetry as well. I hope that answers your question. It answers the question for me as much as I can, though I may have more thoughts on it later. I'm only just giving this a thought now. So thank you, Josh, for your question, and I hope you are well.
Now back to the meat and potatoes, which I will say is the focus on a great poet of now. And this poet is not a heel. Ryan Eckes is a poet from Philadelphia. He is the author of General Motors on Split Lip Press 2018, which can be downloaded free from the Internet Archive, and the chapbooks Fine Nothing, Albion Books 2019, Wet Money, Radical Paper Press 2020, and Old Light. His poems have appeared recently in ProLit, Protean Magazine, Wax 9 Journal, Tripwire, and the New York Times Magazine. Eckes has worked as an adjunct professor and labor organizer in education, and he is the editor of Radiator Press. Let's listen.
Song in Malleable Time. Wide array of used Santa suits for sale on South Street today. Bits of glass and parking tickets dress the curb for an album cover. I get carted in the same spot I snuck into 25 years ago. What's it called through the lens of a pigeon coming back for more? Why do we keep getting younger and younger and younger? The Pixies came on and we got stuck in the eye of the song. The ocean wants to drink, the sun spits out wings. When we rushed out without paying, I couldn't stop laughing. When work was nothing but waiting, time was a rubber band. You hear that train, it runs through the ocean. That strike in the heart of everyone you've ever loved. That summer we fell so in love, the ground gave way. What we all wanted, but couldn't let each other have. Pour me another, I said to the customer. It's time to feed the meter. A gang of Santas in the rearview mirror. The second hand touches my nose. This car is older than most careers, including my own. I peel off in gratitude. A gang of Santas in the rearview mirror. Every building has a chimney and a future. What we all wanted but couldn't let each other have. The wind sweeps my floor like a mother. That summer we fell so in love the ground gave way. Tongues of water reaching out of flowers. It always felt late then, as if on the edge of some rupture. Soon the job would stop eating the house and every move you made. I taped my brain to that summer like a rubber band. We were catching up to the past when you left. The wind sweeps my floor like a mother. I'm almost finished my beautiful soda. Deep cuts. Could be worse, said the father to the son. Could be worse, said the patient to the doctor. Could be worse, said the wine to the sofa. Could be worse, said the soda to the fries. Could be worse, said the starter to the reliever. Could be worse, said the desert to the lover. Could be worse, said the empire to Darth Vader. Could be worse, said Darth Vader to Karl Marx. Could be worse, said the communist to the anarchist. Could be worse, said the anarchist to the anarchist. Could be worse, said the milk to the juice. Could be worse, said the clock to the fan. Could be worse, said the cloud to the kite. Could be worse, said the page to the writer. Could be worse, said the guard to the library. Could be worse, said the cat to the cowboy. Could be worse, said the ropes to the wrestler. Could be worse, said the sun to the sunflower. Could be worse, said the soldier to the teacher. Could be worse, said the homework to the pay cut. Could be worse, said the pavement to the porn star. Could be worse, said the trash to the parking meter. Could be worse, said the cash to the cactus. Could be worse, said the earth to the song. Could be worse, said the train to the trees. Could be worse, said the trees to the bees. Could be worse, said the beach to the teeth. Could be worse, said the squirrel to the nut. Could be worse, said the wire to the weeds. Could be worse, said the skater to the hater. Could be worse, said the cooler to the cough drop. Could be worse, said the gum to the bum. Could be worse, said the diner to the donut. Could be worse, said the bagel to the beaver. Could be worse, said the road to the prison. Could be worse, said the map to the dream. Could be worse, said what's what to whodunit. Could be worse, said the slinky to the Barbie. Could be worse, said the wiffle ball bat to the garbage pail kid. Could be worse, said the toilet to the plunger. Could be worse, said the beer to the reader. Could be worse, said the home run to the upper deck. Could be better, I said to my friend.
That was Ryan Eckes, folks. Definitely not a heel. Events this week, May 29th, 2023. This Thursday, there will be an open mic at Satellite Records, 5:30 to 6:30, Thursday, June 1st. Come out to Satellite Records if you've got something to share. Oh, a note about the last open mic, which was at BookBug. This is a bookstore. That went well, and it's going to be monthly. So if you couldn't make the last one, check the website for Kalamazoo BookBug. Wrestling events, IPW, The Fate of 8 has not happened yet. It's at Ruggers Up and Under, and it will be June 3rd. That'll be Saturday, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Well, thank you, Josh, for the question. Thank you, Greg, for your guest appearance and your thoughtful answer. And thank you, Ryan, for your monumental poems. So, like I say, thank you for listening to Wrestling with Poetry. WrestlingWithPoetry@gmail.com if you have a question, comment, or concern. My name is Ish Klein. Have a great week.